All right, we are back with our college basketball and NBA recap show. Just Connor and I today. We were supposed to have an interview, fell through due to a lot of stuff. So
gosh darn power outages, Carter.
Yeah, exactly. We'll have interviews back next week, but we're back. Let's just get into this. It was, I believe, last night. We're recording this at like 11:30 p.m. Eastern time, Thursday, February 24th, and Duke beat Virginia at Virginia. Huge win for Duke. Virginia, basically, that was their ticket to the tournament if they win. Mm-hmm. That's one of those games, if Duke loses, this team's not a legit Final Four contender.
Yeah, I agree. If they wouldn't have come back and found a way to put that Virginia team away, I would have a hard time picking them to go very far in the tournament.
I mean, the fact that Kihei Clark made 6 threes in the first half.
He was looking like a Jimmer.
We were talking about it before we were texting about it yesterday. Yeah, during the game. I mean, you let him shoot those. Like he was taking in transition threes. Kihei Clark, he averages 9.9 points per game.
But you said, if I'm not mistaken, you said once he hits his fourth, you got to change something. I would argue once he hits 3 in a short time span, you got to switch something up. Run at him, send a blitz, do something.
Yeah, I just said the fourth one just because that one was a big momentum shift.
It was.
But that's 3, 4, whatever. You have to adjust. And nobody adjusted better on this Duke roster than Jeremy Roach. Jeremy Roach played massive minutes.
And he's been the forgotten man a lot of times this season.
Exactly. And the one thing that I'll say it time and time again, this team secretly has to have Jeremy Roach play well. If Jeremy Roach does not play well, the title's not happening. Every single title team has to have a good point guard. Every single college basketball team. The 2 things you need in college basketball, good coaching and good point guard play. And if your point guard stinks, you're not winning the title. The only team that was able to get past that was the Anthony Davis Kentucky team, and it's not like Marquise Teague wasn't bad. Wasn't good.
He played. He had a quick run in the NBA, or as Eric Collins will say, he had a cup of coffee in the NBA.
Exactly, but like that's the thing. He was still a first round pick.
Yeah, exactly. He wasn't no bum. He wasn't a guy in the park.
Exactly. I mean, you go back at every title team, like 17 Carolina, Joel Berry. 15 Duke, Tyus Jones, those UConn teams with Shabazz Napier or Kemba Walker. The 2010 Duke team, John Shire, 2009 Carolina, Ty Lawson. Single year.
Kyle Guy.
That Louisville team, Peyton Siva. Yeah. Well, you Ty Jerome for that Virginia team. And a lot of them need that 1-2 punch at point guard and shooting guard to be able to make that. Like Nate Britt stepped up so big for Carolina in 2017. Duke had in 2015 had Tyus Jones and Quinn Cook. Well, Virginia had Ty Jerome and Kyle Guy.
Last year, you look at tournament teams that made a deep run. I mean, Baylor, Davion Mitchell, Jared Butler, and
Masio Teague.
Teague, yeah. Three good guards. Good guard play.
Absolutely. And then let's see. Let's go back. Who won it in 2018? Nova, right?
Yeah,
that was
that Jalen Brunson, or was that the 2 years before that? I think it was 2 years before.
I think it was Jalen Brunson and DiVincenzo, right?
Yeah, then Archie Diacono.
No. Yeah, and then
Archie Diacono
when
beat us.
Yeah, they had Josh Hart.
Yeah,
exactly.
And even Gonzaga, the Gonzaga team made a run last year. Jalen Suggs.
And then that Louisville team also Peyton Siva, Russ Smith. Russ Smith was a baller, dude.
Yeah, he was. He was
and
tough.
The Michigan team that made it that year had Trey Burke. Trey Burke was playing out of his mind.
Yeah.
And even that Butler team that made it to the title game had Shelvin Mack.
Yeah, exactly.
Every single team has to have that guy. It has to have a point guard. You're just not making it. And I do actually believe in coaching because Coach K, finally, we've been preaching it week after week on this show. Whenever it comes down to a late game situation with a young team, call the timeout. You call the timeout every single time. And he finally called the timeout. And what happened? He drew up a great play. Trevor Keels got down the lane, got fouled, made it a 4-point game, took it out of reach from Virginia.
I agree with that. And it just seems like, Roy Williams was infamous for never calling a timeout. Usually during Roy's tenure here, like Carolina was pretty experienced, so he got away with it a lot of the times. But you saw at the end of, the last couple of years he was here, it didn't work like that because we had, a lot of guys coming in and out. Like their team wasn't a lot of continuity in the team the last 2 or 3 years he was here. So he got a lot of flack for that.
I mean, you were making fun of AJ Griffin in the Carolina game, calling him Prime D Wade. He pulled it out again last night against Virginia.
It's unreal.
10 points in the final 2 minutes.
Where did he come from? He wasn't even like he wasn't getting heavy minutes. But beginning of the year though, he wasn't getting heavy minutes. Really,
he was hurt, and then he slowly came back through there. They didn't want to re-aggravate injury or anything because he's been an injured player his whole basketball career, and oh my goodness, dude, he might be Duke's best player.
Yeah, he's pretty consistent. He's arguably the most consistent player.
I think he's better. I will say it right now. I don't as a draft prospect, I would still take Paolo Banchero. I think AJ Griffin is better than Paolo Banchero in college basketball.
That's interesting. I don't know about that. That's a bold take. I don't know if I can get behind that.
Also, but one thing about AJ Griffin is he's going to go like top 10 easily in the draft
this year.
Yes, he is a high. He is.
Is he that high?
He's projected to go that high because
there's no way.
Who's the ESPN guy? Mike Schmitz.
Yeah,
because they were saying he's a lottery pick.
AJ Griffin's a lottery pick this year. I guess so. Oh my God, I just Googled real quick. Just first mock draft that pulled up.
He was like 4, right?
I'm on NBADraft.net. He's 4th above Banchero.
Yeah. The issue is
there's no way.
The issue is I don't like about AJ Griffin is he can't create his own shot. The ball handling is not there. His shot making is unbelievable. I mean, he's going to have a 15, 20-year NBA career just because of the shot making.
Yeah.
His athleticism. But he cannot create his own shot. He is so north to south. He is not east to west at all.
So you're telling me Duke has 4 first-rounders on this team? Because right now I'm looking at this. It has Wendell Moore and Mark Williams, 23-24 in the first round. Ain't no way.
Yeah, that sounds right.
This has Caleb Love, 4th pick in the second round. That's just crazy to me.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah.
This has Brady Manick going 54th.
How was Brady Manick moving up draft boards? I mean, I guess he had a good game. Like, he has a couple of good games here and there, but who is he guarding in the NBA? We saw him. He couldn't guard a stick.
Is he Matthew Hurt?
He's not as good as Matthew Hurt. Matthew Hurt was very good, but he is a lot like Matthew Hurt.
If you look at his recent points a game, he is consistently our leading scorer in a lot of the last few games.
Yeah, I know. No, that's a good comparison, but I still think Matthew Hurt was better. But
probably
no, that's actually a really good comparison.
I feel like Matthew Hurt was better at getting his own shot. Brady Manick's more of a catch and shoot. He can shoot people in his face, but he's not that good at creating his own shot.
Matt Hurt would just make the most ridiculously he couldn't create his ois shot. He would just make tough shots with people guarding him in his face. He would just shoot over him.
That's exactly what Brady Manick does. They have the same shot for him. It's above their head. It's like I shoot.
And his is like spastic though.
Who, Manick?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a little bit.
It's a little spastic.
Yeah.
But back to the Duke Virginia game. I mean, what a win, man. I mean, I love beating Virginia. Besides winning the Duke Carolina game, there is no other game I want to win more than the UVA game, especially at UVU. I would rather win at UVU than at Cameron.
Yes, I don't know. I hate Virginia as much as the next guy, but I think I'd still rather just beat the shit out of State and then Virginia.
See, like Duke and State don't have that real thing because Duke and State are kind of a little bit in bed together. State fans would say that up front. No, that's not happening. But Duke and State fans are it's like
a little mutual agreement.
Yeah, F these Carolina guys.
That's literally what it is. That's fine.
Do you go to class?
I do actually go to class. I have a big presentation tomorrow.
Does anybody?
I can attest.
Does anybody else on the team, on the basketball team, go to class?
I believe so. I've got a couple players in my history lecture. So I can attest. Up? They do. They do show up whenever they're not, playing away. So.
But yeah, no, what an awesome game. I mean, Jeremy Roach stepped up big. Almost, it literally looked like Tyus Jones. I was freaking out. He shut down Kihei Clark in that second half, and he was the only one fighting through screens and everything. But this is what's concerning about Duke, or you could say not concerning, because Wendell Moore and Paolo Banchero had a combined 12 points and still won on the road at Virginia, which obviously that's concerning because you don't want your two arguably best players having 12 combined points, but they still won with that. But Paolo Banchero is hitting a freshman wall, and he can't deal with the double team.
That, and here's the thing with that is obviously it's a great thing Duke won that game even with those two struggling. But here's the thing: if they struggle like that again, can Jeremy Roach, can AJ Griffin pull off one of those games again to where they'll still get the W, even though Wendell Moore and Paul Banchero shoot 5 for 20? Like, I don't know if that's consistently like a recipe for success.
Not against a more talented team, but a team like Virginia and basically anybody in the ACC, I think yes.
Yeah, that's fair.
But like when we're in the Elite Eight and we're playing, when
you're in the Elite Eight,
Texas Tech, Purdue, or something like that. Big if. Nope.
Well, there's no way they don't make. There's no way they don't make it. Stop. There's no way they don't make it to the Elite Eight. I mean, Duke's basically a shoe-in for the Final Four. I mean, there's no way.
Carolina 75-1 to win the titles. Great odds.
Just a little.
But yeah, no. I mean, say if we're playing a team like Baylor or Purdue, we can't get away with that.
Oh no, not at all.
Even though we beat Kentucky and Gonzaga without Paulo Banchero for a majority of the second halves in both of those games, which is remarkable.
Yeah, I mean, Duke has enough good players to pick up the slack.
They have the highest ceiling in college basketball. Does not mean they're the best team, but they do have the highest ceiling.
I agree. I can agree with that because Mark Williams. There's not many centers in college basketball right now that can like shut down an opposing center or bang with Chet Holmgren or Drew Timme, whoever it may be.
He shut down Drew Timme.
Yeah, exactly. So like that is a huge plus.
I can't stand Drew Timme, even though how does Gonzaga not win the title?
They look good.
They look good. Right now. And the West Coast Conference is solid.
It is.
Arguably better than the ACC.
Our guy Joe Lenardi was on ESPN the other night. It might have been last night, and he was saying that the top of that conference is better than the top of the ACC.
Also, I have a little bit of beef with Lenardi because he's sitting here saying that Duke every time Duke wins, we just go down.
Everybody else is winning too.
Because
you're not winning good enough games.
We're beating these teams, and then they keep moving down in the quad and the net because we're beating them. Yeah. And so the wins don't look as good. So it's the stupidest concept. And then Kentucky's beating teams that are just a little bit better, They're all Q3 wins, but they have like 8 difference in the net ranking. So they go up higher. We literally beat this Kentucky team and Gonzaga. We have better wins than Kentucky, but it's the stupid quad 1, quad 2, quad 3 bull crap. It just makes no sense.
There's too much weight that goes into those. I get it. I get the stat. I get the quad stats. That's fine. There's too much weight that goes into that when deciding seeding, I think.
Absolutely. And I'll say this in defense of Virginia's a tournament team. Whether you like it or not, that team is going to be competitive as crap in any tournament game. If you're a 7 seed or a 2 seed, the last thing you want to see is a Tony Bennett coach Virginia team in the first round.
Are they getting in the tournament?
No. They're 80th in their net ranking. But if they would have won that Duke game, because they would have had 2 wins against Duke, they probably would have gotten in as long as they took care of business the rest of the season, didn't have a horrendous loss in the ACC tournament.
Yeah, I agree.
But all right, let's move on from the Duke game. Carolina, not really squeaks out. It wasn't squeaks, but
they pulled away at the end. It was closer than I feel like it needed to be.
Yeah, so they barely beat Louisville in the Dean Dome. I mean, if you guys lost that game, it was curtains.
Well, Lenardi probably still would have had us as the last 4 in.
He loves Carolina.
He does, and the thing is, Carolina's talented enough to make, win a couple games in the tournament, sure. But like the fact of the matter is Carolina still has to get the wins to get in the tournament. And that Louisville game was a must win.
If you guys lose the State, it's over.
State on Saturday, must win. Syracuse on Monday, must win. We have to win both those games.
I believe it was you and I talking about it. You know what's crazy? Carolina's in a down year, barely about to make the ACC tournament. They still have a chance at the regular season title.
Oh, I know. We're like, what, third right now?
I think conference tied. 4th. There's like a huge tiebreaker with like 12 and 5s, 13 and 4s and stuff like that. Because I was looking at it after the Virginia Tech game, you had Louisville, NC State, Syracuse, Duke. If you can lose one of those. You can lose Syracuse or Duke. I think you can lose Syracuse or Duke as long as you win a game in the ACC tournament. I don't think much changes because I think the bubble's that weak.
I think we have to beat Syracuse. That would be a bad loss.
NC State.
That would be a horrible loss, obviously.
NC State would be because they're Q4, right?
They have to be. Yeah, they have to be. They're below Pitt.
They are bad. I mean, Kev, did you see the last state game, the Boston College one?
They lost. I didn't see it, but I know they lost.
It looked like it was it for Kevin Keats.
Well, the thing is, with Carolina's going to Raleigh on Saturday. That's their Super Bowl. If they beat us and keep us out of the NCAA tournament, that'll be like winning a national title.
Yeah,
which is unreal to me.
Would they storm the court with the unranked Carolina team?
That's some shit they would do, and I just wouldn't even be surprised. That's the sad thing is I wouldn't be surprised.
Sorry,
I would not storm the court. Don't say that.
I would storm the court.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
Yeah,
but you can't just storm the court against a fucking mediocre Carolina team. You can't do
that. Let's see here. But yeah, if you guys lost NC State, it's over.
Oh, 100%. That would be one of the losses to keep us out.
I really don't think if you guys lose to Syracuse, I don't think it's that big of a deal.
Okay, but if we lose to Syracuse and Duke,
you just have to win a game in the ACC tournament.
I just don't agree with that. I think
because you guys have the double bye now.
Yeah, is it locked?
Yeah, it's locked because Wake Forest lost to Clemson.
So who has the double bye right now? Carolina, Duke.
The double byes are
Notre Dame.
Down to Duke, Notre Dame, Duke, Miami, Carolina. How is it locked? Oh, because I saw someone I think it was an Inside Carolina person tweeted out the double bye is locked, right? Oh, it's with a win at State. With a win at State, it's locked. So I mean,
makes sense.
You just have to win one more game. So you're gonna have the double bye in the. You're going to be playing Thursday of the ACC tournament. You just have to win one game.
Yeah.
I really think that's it. If you guys aren't even on the last four in, and a loss doesn't hurt you at all.
I think on Lenardi's screenshot on Twitter tonight, we were like the first one of the last four in, I think.
Yeah, because he has the 8. You guys are at the top. It's okay. Like you're like sort of eight spots away from being out.
Yeah.
Oh,
really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
It's like first 4 in, and then the last 4 in, and then first 4 out, last 4 out, or next 4
out. Oh, okay. All right. That makes sense.
But yeah, no, I thought Carolina was going to lose that Louisville game. They were making tough shots.
Me and Chip were there. It was tough to watch some of the shots they made because it was pretty good defense played by Carolina, but they just kept every time we go on a little run, they'd have an answer. And the crowd wasn't insane. Like, it definitely wasn't full, but it did.
Wine and Cheese Club,
came through when it mattered. The students showed out, per usual.
We'll have a big Duke Carolina preview next week, but everybody's jinxing Duke everybody's jinxing Duke. It's so bad.
How can you jinx an unbeatable team? You just can't.
Stop.
You can't jinx a team that good that can't lose.
Stop.
There's no way they get upset in the round 32.
I did want to say this. Speaking of jinxes, on Twitter, went after Josh Graham, WSJS. He does ESPN radio in Winston-Salem. He tweeted out after PJ Hall goes out against Clemson, he goes, Wake should win comfortably tonight. And I was like, oh my gosh, he's clearly jinxing Wake.
He's done it.
And then I said, okay, breaking news. He does not believe in jinxes, and he said, can confirm. Go on to see that Wake Forest loses by 11 points.
I don't know how it went to 11 because they were down like 2 with 30 seconds left, unless I read that wrong.
They lost 80-69.
Yeah, I saw that, but it was like a maybe 2-possession game with like 30 seconds left. I don't know. Whatever. I guess free throws.
When will people learn that jinxes are real? And then we also, before you weren't on this interview, it was me and Grant. We were talking to Ben Criddle, the BYU ESPN radio sports guy. He goes, no, I don't believe in jinxes. What are you talking about? Sure enough, jinxed BYU. He didn't believe in our day game theory. They don't believe in these jinx theories, any of these theories. And time again, we are proven right.
Proven results.
But I just want I can't believe Josh Graham, dude.
That was a tough one. I saw it on Twitter.
How do you not actually believe in jinxes?
It seems like every time I talk shit about Carolina, they end up losing. I hype up Carolina.
Yeah, you hype up. Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, oh, this is going to be an easy win. This should be great confidence booster. I stopped doing it years ago. I stopped doing it. I stopped doing it. I stopped believing years ago in that shit. I stopped believing in they weren't real. Does that make sense?
We're talking about title real?
What?
Oh, jinxes.
Like I stopped. Like I started believing in them.
Oh, gotcha.
Because like
I heard that backwards.
yeah. No, I stopped like talking to Carolina and being like, "Oh, this will be an easy win," blah blah, whatever. Because every time I do it, something would happen.
Let's talk about the ACC tournament real quick. Unfortunately, it's in Brooklyn, New York, which makes no sense. First off, I mean,
lame.
Went to the Brooklyn one, saw Duke
dead.
Carolina play when it was the Luke May year with like Marvin Bagley and those guys. I mean, you might as well have been at a Hornets Timberwolves game. There is no difference.
Well, they don't care about the ACC up there. It's not their fault. They didn't grow up with ACC basketball.
It makes no sense. It legitimately makes no sense. The other night I went through, I'll be writing an article on cartercast.com coming out soon, that the attendance in Greensboro is higher than any other year ever. What was it in 2020? Remember when it is Carolina. They were playing on that Tuesday in Greensboro. That does help, but there was 15,000 fans.
Yeah,
I mean, and that was a true 15,000 on Tuesday, the ACC tournament. You want to see Tuesday of the ACC tournament year. in Brooklyn? Mm-hmm. I mean, they're going to have less fans at the ACC tournament on Tuesday in Brooklyn than they did last year at the Greensboro Coliseum when they were only allowed 2,800 seats. There is going to be about 1,500 people there max on that Tuesday. Max.
The thing is that, like, it's not their fault. They just don't give a shit about ACC basketball. It's always been Big East.
I don't understand the concept because I know, like, you can make the argument like, oh, well, teams up north like Syracuse and Boston College want to be able to come see.
They're literally just jacking off Jim Boeheim is what they're doing.
Because
is that insane?
Well, and then he complains about Greensboro, and then they're like, "Hey, stop talking about Greensboro." So he had to come up with some BS apology, and so, but every time it's in Greensboro. Once it hits Wednesday, it's almost a sellout every time.
He's just mad because, the North Carolina teams have a home court advantage when they play Syracuse, Louisville, whoever it may be. But that's just how it is.
Guess what? And
you joined the conference 7 years ago.
I saw Syracuse play in New York. They don't have a home court advantage there either. Guess you know exactly. You know who had the most fans there? Duke, Carolina, Virginia. You know who has the most fans in Greensboro? Duke, Carolina, Virginia, and NC State.
And they brought less revenue in New York, I guarantee. And they had to pay for more for the venues and all that stuff. Flying all the teams out there. A lot of teams.
Greensboro Coliseum is willing to work with the ACC on all this kind of stuff. And the Greensboro Coliseum holds 3,000 more seats than the Barclays Center. I understand that it's all about corporate sponsorships, and the whole New York Life sponsorship probably makes all the difference. And Greensboro Coliseum doesn't have enough suites. But it's still ridiculous that they're moving this tournament up to New York when it's just there's nobody there. It looks stupid on TV. It flat out looks stupid.
And having 4 different locations, there's zero consistency.
No,
it's so annoying. It's so annoying.
Just play in Greensboro. It's so stupid. And they're like, oh, well, let's move to Charlotte and stuff. No, play in Greensboro. That's where the ACC belongs. That's where the ACC started. You promote this whole documentary saying, oh, back in Greensboro where the ACC started, we love our roots. And then
but now we're going to sell out.
Then Jim Phillips decides to come in. His first move is, all right, yeah, let's leave Greensboro. F this. I don't want to live in Greensboro.
I don't get it. I don't understand it.
Absolutely ridiculous. It's just the thing is the ACC is in a real crisis right now, and the last thing they need to be worrying about is relocation for the conference because that's not going to make one damn lick of a difference between going from Charlotte to Greensboro to New York. That makes zero difference. The SEC is in Birmingham, Alabama. They had the opportunity to move to Atlanta. They're in Birmingham, Alabama, and they're the number 1 conference in basketball and football right now.
And the thing is, it would be different if the Greensboro Coliseum brought in very lackluster numbers of fans. There's only a few thousand people show up one day. Give me a break. It's packed every single day there.
Wednesday at noon, it'll be NC State versus Georgia Tech, and that place is filled to the rafters.
Exactly. People just come because they like watching it. Like, there's a lot of people that just come on Tuesday, Wednesday that are Carolina Duke fans, even though they don't play for a couple days.
And to gain exposure, that makes no sense.
It doesn't.
Everybody knows what the ACC is. You're not fooling anybody.
It's not a startup league.
Nobody in New York cares 2 craps about the ACC tournament besides a few ACC tournament fans. But you're just taking it away from real ACC tournament fans in North Carolina, Virginia, Tennessee, South Carolina, and forcing them to travel up to an expensive trip up to New York.
There's a reason the majority of the original ACC teams were located down in North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia.
And then and you have to fight with the Big East tournament. You're
Exactly.
fighting for fans that are going to the Garden, a much better venue than the Barclays Center. Yeah, the Barclays Center might be newer, but it's not a better venue than Madison freaking Square Garden. And then the
Exactly.
Big East tournament is so classic and so ingrained in New York City. I don't understand. Like, look at the Big East model. Like, look at them.
You're literally
they stayed in New York City. It works every single time. They've never had problems. Stay in Greensboro. That's where the ACC belongs.
they've literally created more competition for themselves by interfering with what the Big East has in New York. They've created more competition.
And you're not finding a more central location than Greensboro in a venue that's going to work more with the ACC than Greensboro Coliseum.
100%.
Absolutely ridiculous. I can't stand this. And then I guarantee you, they haven't announced the tournament sites. They're probably going to announce that soon. It's probably going to be Brooklyn, DC, and Charlotte.
They're going to phase Greensboro out.
100%.
What
a joke. The ACC is in such a crisis right now, too, because they just came out. The article just came out. I believe it was The Athletic, but I could be wrong. That ACC football attendance is at a 40-year low since the early 80s or late 70s. I mean, ACC football is terrible.
Yep.
Because they just relied on the backs of Clemson and Florida State for years. And now that they're not good, they're in a crisis. Basketball is horrible.
Basketball's in a down year.
Basketball is arguably the worst Power 5 conference in Division I right now.
Yep.
I mean, there's not a conference I would put below them.
No, not Power 5. And there's even some non-Power 5s I put above them.
I would put the Big East over them. And the Big East isn't even technically Power 5 right now.
Yeah.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
I agree with you.
And, I'm sorry, but if Jim Phillips doesn't change things, then there's got to be real concern. But the fact that their main concern right now is figuring out relocation because they don't want to live in Greensboro, North Carolina, give me a break.
Yeah.
Then don't take the job.
Facts.
You know what you're Northwestern.
You know what you're getting into.
Absolutely ridiculous. But last thing on college basketball we'll go over. We'll do a quick Final Four predictions. Do you want to go first? I'm pissed off, by the way. But
yeah, I can tell you're a little fired up right now. A little revved up.
Gosh,
I like this. Channel this energy next week in the little Duke Carolina preview. Get this energy going next week too.
All right, don't worry about it. Yeah, give me your Final Four.
Oh God. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you that I don't have Duke in it. Not even being a Carolina fan, I don't think Duke has what it takes. This is personal opinion. Don't have it in the Final Four. I still like my Purdue pick from a few months ago whenever we first went out with it. So I got Purdue. Oh, this is tough. I think Gonzaga will be there. Don't know if they'll pull out the championship, but I think Gonzaga will be there. So there's two. That's tough. I don't know because I'm torn between Auburn. Because I want to pick like a sleeper. Like I want to have a sleeper,
All right, I'll give you my Final Four prediction. So I have Duke. Easy. All right, and then I have, let me see here. It's hard not to put Gonzaga in there. Gonzaga is so good.
You have to put Gonzaga in there.
Every night you're sitting there, they have like 14 minutes left in the second half, and they're like, oh, Gonzaga is on pace for 140 points. So hard not to put them in there. They're consistent. They've shown that they're able to make the Final Four and not let the West Coast Conference ruin them and just make them coast. Let me go through here. I love Texas Tech.
See, I was looking at that. I was thinking that.
Texas Tech, I weirdly think Texas Tech or Texas will make a Final Four run. Texas down there, I think to make the Final Four, they're probably like 25-1 or something like that.
Yeah.
Not a bad number for those Texas Longhorns down there.
Not terrible.
And then my last pick, I love them. Everybody hates them right now. I absolutely love them. Is UCLA. I'm all on the UCLA train because
why?
My favorite thing is when I love when seeing college basketball people pick the easy pick in February when a team is trending so high, peaking at its absolute highest. You know what that team right now is? Arizona. Arizona's peaking more than they ever could right now, flying too close to the sun. UCLA is in the perfect spot to make that run, flying under the radar. Maybe they weren't meant to be a tournament favorite, as we're seeing this year.
Yeah.
Probably going to go into this tournament as a 4-3 seed. If they get some favorable matchups, I see no reason why they can't make the Final Four. I love this UCLA team, even though they have stunk lately.
You know what? That's a hot take. You you might have convinced me on that one. I'm still rocking with Gonzaga, obviously. I'm rocking with Purdue. I think Purdue has what it takes.
Also, as we're recording this, Oregon beat UCLA by 5, but just so you know. That's a
tough one. That's a
I'm
tough one.
Still on the UCLA train. I don't care.
Still on the UCLA train. I want to pick a sleeper. I don't want to pick 4 favorites. I got Gonzaga, I got Purdue.
Murray State's good, but I don't think they'll actually do it.
See, I think Murray State will win a few games. I don't think they can get that far, though. I almost want to.
I thought about Arkansas.
I almost want to say Arkansas, and I almost want to say Baylor. But we talked about Baylor in the hangover. I don't know if they have what it takes this year.
I'm not a fan of this Baylor team whatsoever. Providence, did you catch that triple overtime win?
Yeah, I saw that. That was tough.
That was incredible.
That was. You know what? All right, here's my 4. Gonzaga, Purdue. I'm gonna go Providence. I think they make a run. And then the last one, got to go with my boy Walker Kessler.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Carolina.
No. I'm realistic around here. I'm gonna go Auburn. I do think Auburn has. I think they have a lot of talent.
I think they have a lot of talent, but we've said this before. I don't like Bruce Pearl. I don't know why I said Pearl. Pearl as a favorite in the NCAA tournament as a high seed. I feel like that's just a recipe for a disaster. Kansas is flying under the radar, which scares me. Because usually when Kansas is like really good, they're like shown.
You hear about them,
you hear about Kansas, and they always get upset in the first 2-3 rounds. Yeah, this Kansas team flying under the radar does scare me because I hate Kansas.
What about Kentucky? You don't think they have what it takes?
Too many people are on Kentucky for me.
I was thinking the same thing. I've seen that a lot lately.
Every single person I have seen is on Kentucky going to the Final Four. I whenever I see that, I'm more inclined not to think so. That doesn't mean that Kentucky can't make the Final Four, obviously, but it scares me to pick them.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay. I still have I'm sticking with Purdue to win it all.
I don't hate that. Like I would buy Purdue stock still.
I've stuck with it for the last few months. They've had some ups and downs. I said this last episode too. I'm sticking with them. I think the deepest team in the country. They have 2 all-conference centers.
Okay, let's talk some NBA. All-Star weekend.
Oh, yes.
All-Star weekend. LaMelo made the All-Star game.
Everybody had a great game.
I didn't even watch the dunk contest. I honestly forgot it was happening. Word on the street is it was terrible.
Okay, here's my take on this. And you can take this, you can put this on the headline, whatever you want to do. The dunk contest, it's not their fault because here's the thing. There's only so many dunks a human can do, an athlete can do. There's only so much creativity you can come up with. That's why we've seen lately in the last few years more of a worry about presentation, more of a focus on presentation. Blake Griffin jumping over the car really set it off. But they've had to worry more about presentation because the actual dunk itself, you can only do so many things because you have to be repeated from history.
Well, not even just that. I also think, and a lot of people have made this point, LeBron ruined the dunk contest by saying he's too cool for the dunk contest and he's too good for the dunk contest. And
do you think if he would have done it, there would have been higher profile people to follow his
Absolutely.
lead?
We would see Miles Bridges in there right now.
I don't see a reason why he shouldn't be. Sure, he's having a breakout year, but he's not a bona fide superstar in the league anyways.
Like, imagine the dunk like that's the thing we say, like, oh, there's only so many dunks like these guys can do. But like, imagine if it was Zion, Ja Morant, and Miles Bridges and someone else.
And Anthony Edwards.
Yeah, and Anthony Edwards. Unreal. I mean, you're telling me you're not sitting there watching that, getting some popcorn ready?
See, the reason that I'm hesitant on what I just said is because the Aaron Gordon, Zach LaVine dunk off, like those were some dunks that hadn't been seen really before, like especially the use of the mascot and all that.
And but like a few years prior to that, the dunk contest was awful,
horrible. Like the year they had like the team dunking, you remember that? Oh,
that's the worst. That was the worst one in history.
That was when Harrison Barnes was in it.
Harrison Barnes in a dunk contest.
That's when they had him in it. Yeah, I remember watching it. I was like, this is embarrassing. But I don't know if that was more embarrassing or this year.
Was Plumlee in that dunk contest?
He was in one of them. I don't know which one it was.
That's hilarious.
That was insane. But yeah, I don't know. I feel bad for the dunk contest. I don't know what they need to do. They need to switch something up, or I just don't know. Because guys are so pressured now to be so creative and do something that nobody's ever seen before with their presentation. But then like the actual dunk itself just gets lost, Like they don't focus on the actual dunk itself.
That's the thing. I think guys like Ja Morant, Miles Bridges, Zion, and Anthony Edwards, they can have those like transcendent dunks still. Like they can do something we've never seen before still. I don't think guys like Kevin Porter, Obi Toppin's not doing anything I haven't seen. Like big guy dunks are not entertaining.
I agree. I hate to say it, but I agree.
Then the All-Star game. All-Star game was dope. The format change helped it so much.
It did. And go ahead, say what you want to say.
Oh, it was so set up this whole weekend for LeBron. Are you kidding me? Back in Cleveland, he's sitting there doing the quote saying, "I'll go wherever Bronny gets drafted," even though it's not even a lock like Bronny James gets drafted or anything. He's just a 4-star.
It is now. It is now.
It might be now. Who knows what kind of LeBron you're getting though? By that,
he knows what he was doing. He knows what he was doing.
He's like, yeah, I'm, wherever I'm playing with Bronny James, and the whole
he knows exactly what he was doing.
The whole weekend was set up for LeBron, and you could see it happening in the game when they started making that little comeback. Steph was missing those shots, and I believe it was like 160 to 161. They were playing to 163. You knew LeBron was getting that ball, making a game winner, and it was going to be the LeBron show.
But you can't script that. You can't possibly think.
How could you not script it? It's the All-Star game.
You can't just tell people to miss shots.
Have you seen how good these guys are?
I guess. I don't know. I don't think there's any way you can script that. Like, it just worked out.
I'm not saying it actually happened, but conspiracy theory hat on.
I mean, I can see where it worked. It worked out pretty well. It worked out almost too well, but still.
Oh, exactly.
Okay, so on this wave real quick, you think he could go back to Cleveland? I don't think there's any way he'll go back for a third stint there. There's no way.
I see him going somewhere stupid and like random. Like, I feel like, I don't know. Like,
does he pull a Tom Brady? Go to Orlando or Miami or back to Miami?
I feel like it's going to be a team that's so desperate for fans, and they'll just like overdraft Bronny, like Detroit.
Oh my God.
I don't know.
I can't imagine LeBron on a team like that though. Or like the Trailblazers.
Yeah, he's on the Trailblazers. Everyone's talking about a Lillard LeBron trade that would never happen in a zillion years.
Golly, that'll be something to see how Bronny progresses, and if what level LeBron's at in a couple of years when that's possible.
But back to the All-Star game thing, there are some dudes. It's always funny. Like, there are some dudes who are just not built for the All-Star game, and their names are Jokic and Doncic.
Yeah, and well, Giannis to a certain extent. The thing is, he can still do the cool plays, but he just like constantly plays hard. He's not,
Yeah, and like the thing is, like Joel Embiid played well in the All-Star game and stuff like that, but it's not like flashy. Entertaining.
You know who else is not built for the All-Star game is Jimmy Butler. Every year he has some BS excuse about how he's ailing or hurt or recovering from an injury. He plays 5 minutes, that's it.
Chris Middleton was getting the ball a lot at the end.
I couldn't believe that. I couldn't believe they left LaMelo in. Good for them.
It was him and Joel Embiid all day long.
Yeah. There's a bunch of guys this year, more than any other year, I think, that just are not fit for the All-Star game. Van Fleet, what's he doing? Like he's not.
So LeBron fans will love this, and I did want to mention this. It's kind of insane when Steph is like not having to play physical, how good of a shooter he is. Because the deeper he gets in the playoffs, the worse he shoots usually.
It's because the teams bump him around and run him off screens.
And then we saw in the All-Star game, he makes like 16 threes, half court, no looks, all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought LeBron fans would like it because for some reason they all hate Steph, which Steph's the coolest player in basketball right now.
You just got to appreciate greatness. And that's what I've been doing with LeBron, because I have a hard time. Like, I don't fanboy over LeBron just because I know a few people that do to a god-awful extent. But I'm not going to sit here and hate on him for no reason. Like he's like, not arguably, he is the greatest player of our generation. And like us getting here, like watching his prime years, like while we're so interested in the NBA, like you can't take that for granted. Love him or hate him, whatever. Like, you're seeing something will never be done again.
Yeah.
I don't know. I fully believe that. As a fan of basketball, I believe that.
Yeah. I'm not saying that. He's just not one of my most entertaining players to watch play basketball. He's just not.
I agree with that. See, during the regular season, I have a tough time watching.
Like, it's unbelievable what he can do in the playoffs. Playoff basketball is a different animal. Like,
I love every game in the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly. I'm watching DJ Augustine diddle up the freaking Bucks.
Oh man.
But let's talk about the Hornets going into the rest of the season. We talked about it before, like teams that'll probably make the decline, do really well after the All-Star break. They usually get super streaky for some reason. I think the Lakers are a team that's weirdly going to make a big run.
I think the odds are stacked against the Lakers right now. They have the second toughest schedule remaining the rest of the year, but I think they'll do better than the first half of the season. As weird as that sounds.
Absolutely, I do too. I think they're going to take it a little more serious. I think towards April, they tear off a bit, getting ready, rest up for the playoffs. But for the Hornets, I think they're going to kill it the rest of the season. I read a stat. I think they have the 20th toughest schedule.
Yeah, it's bottom half of the league for sure.
Yeah, and a lot of home games.
There are a lot of home games, and I don't know. Their next few games, they play the Raptors.
Are
it's game. Yeah, I was gonna say it's games like that the Hornets have to win. Because I feel like the Hornets do a good job for the most part of beating teams they should beat. They always beat up on the Pistons. I think that's our second or third game back from the break. Like they do a decent job of that. They have to win those mid-tier games against people that are on the same level as them, Raptors.
And we compete in the highest games when it's the Lakers, the Nets, the Suns, stuff like
Warriors beat the Warriors.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. They just have to. Those mid-tier games usually is like kills them. T-Wolves, Raptors, like those games like that, they have to win in the second half of the year. It's just a must for any type of seeding.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about the Hornets. Like I think the play-in, we're going to be in the play-in game. I think we're going to be.
I'm a little worried.
How so? I mean, it's hard to say you're not worried. If you watch the last 2 weeks of Hornets basketball before the
All-Star break, they've lost 10 of their last 11 or 9 of their last 10?
I think it was 9 of their last 10.
So they lost 9 of their last 10. That's fine. Yeah, break, whatever, refresh. There is, if they don't win one or two of these next few games, there's a very good chance there's another slide. They are very prone to losing streaks.
What's the status of Gordon Hayward right now?
He was okay. So he wasn't with the team for a while. He wasn't even on the bench on home games. He was at practice yesterday. I saw a picture of him, but he's still out for tomorrow.
Okay. Well, as long as he's back somewhat soon, it's crazy how much of a difference he makes.
I agree, but they've provided zero information. They just say out left foot or left ankle.
It's like Duke. Whenever Duke has an injury, they just say out indefinitely.
Yeah, they have provided zero information about Gordon Hayward's timetable for return. It's literally same song, different verse from last year. He might not come back this year. Because last year we were like, oh, he'll be out a few weeks. He'll be back. Never showed his face again. I would not be surprised.
One more thing. Let's move off the Hornets. Chris Paul out 6 to 8 weeks. The Warriors might win the West now. And this is for the gamblers out there. Let me pull it up real quick. But
what?
Steph Curry
we don't promote that.
Steph Curry to win MVP is worth a shot just because if the Warriors finish first in the West and he kills it the rest of the season, how can you not pick Steph Curry to win MVP?
I'll tell you how, because Russell Westbrook's shooting a higher percentage than him this year.
But what if he just goes off at the end? And they finished first. They finished first in the West. They're 6 games behind. They're way behind.
But Chris Paul is a huge part of that Suns team, and they could flounder.
Absolutely. I don't believe in Devin Booker can lead this team to, I think they're going to be 500 the rest of the way.
Tonight was their first game without Chris Paul. They ended up starting Cam Johnson, and they just played Booker at the one. And they were tied with the Thunder going into the fourth. They ended up pulling away, winning by double digits, but it was close most of the game.
I'm trying to pull it up right now. It's not letting me pull it up. I believe I think it's 15 to 1 odds, if I'm not wrong. 15 to 1's a shot in the dark for Steph Curry.
That's worth a little bit, yeah.
The media is trying to push this Joel Embiid narrative so hard, and I don't think Joel Embiid should be MVP.
Why though?
Jokic. I think Jokic is the favorite. That Nuggets team stinks.
But okay, the Sixers stink.
The Nuggets are so
without Embiid,
so
without Embiid. Like the Sixers supporting cast.
But they had at least somewhat guys that have names like Seth Curry and Tobias Harris and Thibault and Tyrese Maxey. Who do the Nuggets have? Campazzo is the most frustrating point guard to watch in basketball right now. He stinks.
It's not Jokic's fault. Aaron Gordon fell off the face of the earth.
But that's what I'm saying though is that Aaron Gordon has a worse team, or not Aaron Gordon. Nikola Jokic has a worse team around him than Joel Embiid. And they're basically doing the same thing. They're both middle of the pack in their conference.
It'll be interesting to see. I'll say this. It'll be interesting to see how Embiid's numbers look with Harden because he's playing tomorrow. So I'll be interested to see.
That is going to be interesting to see because does it hurt Embiid that Harden's on the roster now?
I heard his numbers a little bit, but here's the thing. I don't know how much of a role this will play. Jokic plays heavy minutes most every night. Embiid plays right at 31, 32 most nights. So he has less run per game. and he's still putting up those nummers. So I don't know. I don't know how much
It'll open up the game so much more for Embiid now that Harden's there.
Yeah. Can we go back to Chris Paul for a second?
Yeah.
I just wanted to say he caught a lot of flack on a lot of social media pages for because he had that he's out 6 weeks or 6 to 8 weeks with that injury on his hand, and he decided to play 2 or 3 minutes in the All-Star game. It very well could be his last All-Star game. Let's be honest.
You think?
I very much think it could be, because let's be honest here. He's getting up there in age. He's putting up good numbers this year. Suns are amazing, but he's one of those players. If he didn't make the All-Star team next year, I wouldn't be shocked. And so him going out there for a couple minutes in a non-serious game, both teams were aware of his injury. He just, got a couple, whatever minutes, elective minutes. I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't think it's putting his team, I don't think it's putting himself first or anything like that. If that's his last All-Star game, I think that's justified. I think that's fine. I think he was catching too much hate for that.
I don't know if it's his last All-Star game. It's hard to say it's his last All-Star game for how good he's been.
Yeah, I guess.
But you're right. I think that's actually a great point, because I didn't even think about that.
I mean, that was the only thing going through my mind. I was like, okay, fine. If he was 25 years old and he had 10 more All-Star games to go, fine. Get mad at him. But this very well could be his last game. NBA 75 weekend. He just wanted to be out there for a couple minutes.
Because he's 39?
No, he's not that old, is he? I was thinking 36.
36? Well,
or 37 maybe.
Same age. He's around the same age as Uncle Kyle.
He is 36. Yeah, I was right.
Yeah, okay. So Uncle Kyle's a couple years older than him, because I know they played high school ball together. That's why I was confused.
Is Chris Paul also swiping right on anybody's mother? Or is that only a Kyle thing?
Check out CarterCast.com coming Monday. But anyhow, We'll get into that here in a second. Let's move on from the NBA because we're taking some time. I did want to bring this up. We were supposed to have a Charlotte FC interview. We weren't able to do that. We'll have that rescheduled. We'll get some Charlotte FC stuff coming in here throughout the year, especially during the summer months. We'll have some awesome stuff coming for that. And then all right, let's do Charlotte FC. Everyone saw the meme. I'm sure you did, where the manager said, shout out my guy, Top Bin 90. It was bad. It does not look good, because when your manager is in a press conference 10 days or 2 weeks before the season starts and says, right now, we are screwed.
Do they even have enough players to fill a roster?
Yeah, they do.
Okay.
But it's a lot of academy guys and college, few MLS players. They have had a disaster trying to build this roster, and they waited too long. That's what happened. They waited last second. They focused way too much on ticket sales and not enough on building this roster. We might see a season of disastrous proportions. I mean, the lowest season in MLS history, the worst point total was 14 points. We might be seeing that this year with Charlotte FC. Only reason I don't say that's the case, because I think people are going to be coming out to home games. But the fact that their ticket prices are higher than Chelsea's and Bayern Munich's is outrageous for a team that doesn't even exist yet in a non-soccer specific stadium.
Let me tell you this. I'm not going to sit here and act like I follow the MLS hardcore, but I follow Charlotte FC on Twitter, and I do check all the scores of their games. I'm just curious, I just, like soccer, whatever. I saw so much branding in the offseason, so much, ticket sales, pushing the stadium, pushing the branding, do this.
Come to opening night.
We're minted out, whatever. All that's fine. That's cool. Do you not think it would be more effective to build a good team and focus on that? And then people realize, holy shit, we have a top 5, top 10 MLS team. Let me go see what all the hype's about. Is that crazy?
I don't know. I don't
feel
know.
Like if more effort was put on the team, then you.
I'm genuinely shocked. I'm genuinely shocked about how many ticket sales season tickets have been sold. I believe it's 25,000 season tickets. Which is crazy, because they're making people buy PSLs
for a first-year club.
For a first-year club, they're making people buy PSLs in a stadium where you already have to have a PSL to own Panthers season tickets.
They have a lot of faith in Charlotte sports fans, but you know what? The sales speak for themselves, I guess.
Exactly, because opening night, they're at 68,000 tickets sold out of 74,000. That's going to be an awesome game. They start Saturday in DC at Audi Field. DC is the first game. Charlotte FC is like plus 400, and DC is supposed to finish like 10th in the Eastern Conference. I mean,
I've seen
DC stinks. And also, our best player is stuck in Eastern Europe right now trying to get a green card visa worked out. So he's not even going to be here. He's in Poland right now, stuck.
Has Charlotte? I've seen them been playing some games. I guess preseason. I guess what it is. Have they scored a goal?
They have not scored an open play goal. They scored a couple. They scored a PK and off of a like set piece, and it was a header. But they have not scored an open play goal. Which, I mean, you're telling me that's not concerning? I mean,
that is very concerning.
And I watched a little bit of the couple of games. I haven't been able to catch all the preseason games. The midfield looks like it just gets torched. And the thing is, I'm super excited about this. I think it's awesome. I've been wanting a soccer team in Charlotte for years. Even you know that. I've been begging for one. It would be sick. I thought it was going to be in Raleigh, to be honest.
Yeah, I feel like Charlotte's pretty crowded, and Raleigh would be a good market. Because Raleigh was very well there.
Raleigh was more than willing to build a soccer-specific stadium, and I think that is huge because we're going to see this problem because opening night and the first couple weeks are going to be, oh my gosh, this is awesome. I get to see
what a good decision to play in Bank of America.
Like all this, and then come June, when you're playing freaking the Columbus Crew, and it's a rainy night, and there are 6,000 people in a 74,000 seat stadium, it is going to look awful.
It's like us at the NYCFC game.
They actually have a decent supporter section, though. I mean, you went to the NYCFC game, but that's the thing. It weird.
Looks though, the way it looks.
Yankee Stadium's a lot worse than a football stadium, just because how a baseball stadium's designed. It just doesn't fit soccer.
No,
but it's going to look bad, and also the fact that they took out probably the best grass in the NFL and put in a turf field that people are just going to get hurt on. It's so frustrating how these NFL teams cannot afford to upkeep grass.
They make enough profit. They make enough profit.
Just do what the Raiders do. The Raiders grow grass outside and roll it in.
Yeah, it's not rocket science. It's 2022.
We saw in the Super Bowl, Odell Beckham tore his ACL on this artificial crappy turf.
National championship game.
Yeah,
we saw it.
Exactly. But that's the thing. But I mean, honestly, I am super excited. I'm going to watch every single Charlotte FC game. I'm going to be on the edge of my seat. I'm going to be cheering no matter what. Look, we say time and time again, Charlotte sports are doomed to mediocrity. Will never be good. And I will still always just be watching every single stupid Charlotte sports event, just having the stupid idea of hope in a Charlotte sports team.
Because sometimes there's glimmers of hope.
Oh, glimmers, yeah. 2015.
There's moments where you're like, or even like during the year, they're like, oh, this is it. This is the year we make a run. All of a sudden, we end up 9th, 10th playing tournament.
Early January Hornets.
Yep.
But
Panthers start 3-0. Is Sam Darnold the savior? No.
But no, I am super excited about Charlotte FC. I think there'll definitely be some growing pains. I wrote an MLS preview, Eastern Conference preview on CarterCast.com. And I wrote it. I have Charlotte FC finishing second to last in the Eastern Conference. And I didn't put them last just because I'm really hoping they don't finish last. And I couldn't put them last because I read that. I'm pulling for the team. Like this sounds super negative right now because there are a lot of negatives. That ticket prices are outrageous. Outrageous. I'm not like $50 to go see an MLS game in a 74,000 seat stadium when I can go
I'm not doing it.
to any other MLS stadium that's 25,000 seats and pay $20.
As a normal, like if I lived in Charlotte, I'm not like too interested in soccer. I wouldn't pay that consistently. There's no way.
The supporter section is like the cheapest season tickets, and those are like $30 a game. And you have to stand the whole time, which the supporter section would be super fun, but it looks like the ticket sales are looking great. Hopefully the team plays well, but and you feel bad for the manager, man. He's just put in a terrible, terrible spot.
I don't know. I agree. I
mean, you can see like the interviews. He's just, but oh well. We have Charlotte. We have soccer has finally come to the greatest state in the country, starting Saturday at Audi Field in the afternoon. Charlotte FC plus 400. Book it right now. Or they're like 80-1 to win the MLS Cup. Just throw.
Okay, stop.
Yeah, exactly. All right, that'll do it from us. I think that's it, right?
Yeah. That's all I want to say. Be on the lookout. Got some new articles coming.
Yeah, so check it out Monday. Everything will be live We have CarterCast.com. We've been waiting to announce this for probably about 2-3 months now.
It's been in the works for a while.
It's been in the works for a while. It looks amazing. You guys are going to love it. We have full video episodes from every single podcast we've done here on the CarterCast. We have all the way back until when we had Greg Peterson on, or John Fanta, or Adam Kaufman, even Thurl Bailey, Derek Wittenberg. They're all on there. It'll be awesome. We have a ton of clips from previous podcasts. We'll have clips from this podcast. We update new clips for every new episode. We put 2 to 3 clips on there every single time the episode is posted. And then we also have articles. We have a bunch of writers on staff. We're going to be pumping out articles constantly. So check it out daily. We're going to have articles coming out once or twice a day, hopefully. We're just getting those pumped out. It's awesome. CarterCast.com, KarterKast.com, coming out Monday. That is Monday. And also, don't forget to check out the YouTube page, like, subscribe to all the videos. Check out the CarterCast on TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all the
Instagram.
You know what to do. Just at CarterCast. Just do it. Follow us on Twitter at Connor_Sparrow, at Carter V8. And we will see y'all Tuesday. Bye.